I think we are online, at least on two of the three channels we were planning. Um, yeah, today, welcome Brecht,
Hi.
Brecht Wouters, CEO of Epic Frame.
Yes, exactly.
Today, we will talk about the role of well-being in the war for talent.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we are really happy to have you today in our coffee break. And today we will talk about the role of well-being in the role for talent. Now, you as a CEO, can you explain a little bit what kind of situation or what kind of company you have and what the situation in the company is currently in the war for talent?
Well, currently we are in a creative business. We provide video productions and we create strategies for organizations for the video marketing strategies. And being creative or being in a creative sector often gives a lot of different kinds of challenges. And in our case, communication was a difficult one. Communicating with a client, communicating in between ourselves. Proven very challenging, to say the least. So what did we do? We enabled some kind of a Scrum environment, and a Scrum environment comes from IT. It kind of means that you break up a big project into smaller bits, and you kind of divide them between the team members, and you report to each other, and you give feedback, and you're flexible in the way you handle your tasks. We didn't really copy it. We really like shaped it to our business. And right now we're in a situation where we meet on a daily basis, like the entire team. We always give our feedback to each other. We provide our expertise. We kind of shine our light on each other's work as well to make everything better. Like the communication is better. We're more flexible, and product quality is also very, very much higher than it was before. For instance, much better results.
Yeah. Today we speak about mental health, about the role of well-being. How do you create that well-being in your organization? What do you focus on?
Well, first of all, I genuinely believe that we're in a world where the population, especially in Europe, will be shrinking a bit. Like the professional population is actually shrinking for the past years. So the war for talent is on, right? People are scarce, and especially people that you really want in your organization. So we've already established that like things like wages are important, but they're not as important as having impact on your job, on the organization that you work for, to engage with it, to be acknowledged. Things like that are very important, even more important than just wages. So having this Scrum Agile setup is actually meant for people, my team members, to communicate with each other on a safe basis. We have to face our challenge by innovating. There can be no innovation without creativity, and there can be no creativity without safety. If you're stuck in some kind of fight, flight, or freeze mode, you cannot be creative. You're just tunnel visioning on some kind of specific problem. You forget all the rest. You can't find any solutions. So feeling free and feeling safe to communicate was prior for us. And that's why we set up the Scrum environment. So we talk on a daily basis. Like mammals feel safe by doing something, realize they don't get eaten, and then do it again, so they know it's safe. And it's the same thing with speaking, with talking. A lot of people are afraid to speak out. A lot of people are afraid to give their opinions. And giving opinions, and especially in this case, is very important. So we created an environment where all the team members can talk, where they can say, well, yesterday I performed like this, today I'm planning to do this. Everyone does the same thing. All the roles are set. Everything's clear. Clarity also provides safety. And it actually over a couple of years' time, it's a long process, it actually taught us it's safe to communicate. And that's the basis for everything when it comes to having an impact with well-being on the work floor.
Yeah, and practically, how does it work? So in fact, you are using Scrum to create a safe environment. You
Yeah.
bring people together, I suppose daily. You bring them together. You have a review weekly. Can you explain a little bit for the people who are watching now who don't know what Scrum really is, how that works, and how people can express, and how can they be vulnerable in a Scrum meeting? How is that going on in daily practice?
Well, I'm going to give our version of Scrum. Actually, I'm not an IT guy, so we kind of adapted the Scrum philosophy. But in our case, it actually, there's some couple very solid rules, but as few of them as possible. So people have the freedom to roam around those safety points that they can kind of organize their own way of working on what they like and what their needs are at the time. So that's one basic thing I want to give, and we can do that by having those daily meetings. We call it the Scrum meeting. Only takes 5 minutes. Everyone talks. Everyone says what they did the day before. Everyone says what they're going to plan. And it's always in the same order. So there's no energy lost in asking who's going to be next, and no people can hide behind another. No people can use their umbrellas to get out of the talk. And that teaches them the safety. That's the first thing. And it teaches us to talk to each other. Then we have this bi-monthly, it's like every 2 weeks, we have a bigger meeting where the team in between themselves, they talk about problems, they talk about their issues, and they provide their own solutions to those issues. And in that way, our processes are continuously being shaped and continuously being modeled to fit the people working in our team, because the solution comes from from each and every team member. Same thing. Everyone needs to give some working points. Everyone needs to provide with some positive feedback, and we all talk with each other. And that talking is the basis for every kind of safety we have. But we can progress on that. We can increase on that by giving people impact on their own daily personal life at the company, and even beyond the company. It's the team that decides if you can go on leave. It's a team that decides if you can work at home. It's a team that decides if there are any if there's some appointments that we make that we don't need to follow. It's a team that enables the exceptions. That's what I wanted to say. So they're in control of the way they work for most of the time. Me as a manager, I'm not even really. I'm just coaching. I'm just saying, well, you can do this. You can just please talk to this person, talk to that person. Just go and have a direct chat with people. That's my role, and I kind of provide the framework, like things like tools, and we search together for those tools. But it provides such kind of clarity concerning the way they can do their work, because they can really implement their own self into their daily job. And that also creates a real basis of safety for each and every individual. It really gets fit on each of individual needs. And that's actually the entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
And talking and structurizing, making things visible. We also use KPIs to kind of see our progress. And I've had plenty of discussions before with people regarding those KPIs, but I think the true difference with what we do is to actually make those KPIs dynamic. If the team thinks that a KPI is not useful anymore, we drop it, and we even provide a new one. So it's actually like the team really provides with their own KPIs. Mm-hmm. It's a very interesting dynamic to witness.
Yeah. Do you use that method to attract new people? So, for example, when I apply for a job, do you explain what's going on? Do you show people what's going on? Is that your main attractor to get new people?
Well, no, they don't get to hear from me how the team works. They get to hear that from the team themselves. I think it's about almost a year ago when one of our senior members left the team because she wanted to go freelance and prepare for that. And I said, well, team, tomorrow you have your bi-weekly meeting. Go and have a little chat together and tell me how you're going to find your new team member. That's actually what happened. And what they did after that meeting, I couldn't be more proud of them. They came to me and said, well, we need more time. so they actually had the courage and the guts to say, well, we can't do what you're asking us now, but they also provided me with some kind of alternative and to say, well, we're going to meet in 2 days and then we're going to do it properly. And then they gave me they themselves set up the plan of action. And actually, the first time when I met the new people, the new potential recruits, I think we were 2 or 3 weeks into the process. So they had their own, they had the opportunity to make their own application to the job profile they needed. They talked to the juniors. They asked to them, well, where do you want to go? How do you want to grow? And then together they depicted, okay, when they get what they want, these are the things that we would need for a new team member. So they set up the profile based on that. It was really amazing to see. And afterwards, they were the ones who chose a long list from the resumes we got. We just put them there on a table. They just, well, if they had 2 minutes, they would just pass by and say, oh, there's a new one. Oh, this one I like. And they just posted some papers on it. And then afterwards, we looked which ones had the most positive reviews. And then we invited those for a first talk. And it wasn't me who had the first talk. It was 2 of the team members that had the first meeting. And afterwards, the only thing I had was 3 names in this order. And they said, well, this is our top 3. Go and have a chat. And we'll hope you get to the number 1. Yeah. That's actually what happened. Okay. And result is amazing. Actually, the new person really got to meet in depth the new colleagues. So the onboarding was like over in an instant. Immediately felt at home. The team really embraced him when he first started. Everyone was really vibed. Well, we like this guy. We want to work with him. Everything was set. It all clicked together, and I loved it. I loved to see it. It was really amazing.
Yeah. How big is your company?
Right now, we're the team, excluding me, it's a team of 8.
Okay. Yeah. Now, you are mainly focusing on safety, on communication, on autonomy. Mm-hmm. What do you do about let's say the new need of the last Generation Z? For them you have the element of freedom, mm-hmm. That also freedom in time. How do you handle that in your company?
Well, that's up to the team, actually. I believe that if everyone talks and everyone feels safe to talk, then I think that the process almost always directs to the solution that fits the team as best as it can. That means that when it comes to freedom, when it comes to starting your day-to-day business, ending it, or having some intervals in between, I think the only thing I can give them is, well, talk to the team if you need something, if you have a question, if you need an exception, if you need to go to the doctors, if you need to go to the dentist, if you need to do anything at all. They just ask each other, and they really buy into it and say, well, that's great. You have something that needs to be done. And the other one says, oh, I have this problem. I'll take it. No worries. That's what another teammate really stand up for each other. Right? They pick up the things that the other one drops, and it creates this kind of freedom that really that's based on the communication, but it creates a freedom that I've never seen before in any other group, any other team, any other organization. Not even professional ones. I used to be with a youth movement when I was young, and so all these rules, all those processes that are imposed from people that work it out for you, but it doesn't work like that anymore. People are free to ask what they want, and other people are free to buy into it and give it. And if you don't ask for it, then you can't have anything. That's the thing I say the most. You have to ask. If you don't ask anything, you can't get it.
Yeah. And do you have kind of a summary of what you are doing in your company? 2 weeks ago, we started a community, a Facebook community, and I know a lot of people are asking really for practical advice, really from yeah, from companies, mainly locally companies. They really like to see like examples. So I don't know if you have something on paper, some
I
internal secrets that you can share with our community.
Well, the first trigger that I personally had that I really resonated with was The Five Dysfunctions of a Team, the book by Patrick Lencioni. I really love that one. That really opened up my eyes when it came to teamwork. So that kind of means you have 5 different levels of getting your team to get to go to results together, like the
Uh-huh.
optimal results. That's the basis, and the bottom line is that safety. That's the bottom level of the pyramid, right? It's the safety. It's failing to be open to each other. So one of the first things I did was, well, I declared to the team, well, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do work for the next 6 months. We're gonna work around openness. And one of the things that I did was have this little bowl. I had some questions in there, personal questions, no deep personal questions, but things like, what are your mom and dad called? Or do you have any brothers or sisters? And what do you do for a living? Things like that. Um, you don't really go in depth, but you kind of learn your coworkers, your colleagues, and you yourself learn to look at other people as something more than just people you work with. People people get a face, they get a life in your eyes, right? You know, they get a personality now. Not just coworkers, not just colleagues, they're people. So that's the first thing that we did. And I think the second biggest thing that we implemented really was this daily scrum that we do.
Mhm.
Meet daily, like connect on a daily basis. And for us, it only takes 5 minutes, and it's 5 minutes that we invest that provides for hours of extra time that we don't spend chasing problems, that we don't spend solving problems that are not even there, for instance. It's that communication, uh, connecting on a daily basis, very short time. I think that's a very important one. Any organization can do that. Like set a time at 9. Everyone checks in, even if you're using hybrid meetings, for instance. You can perfectly implement that. You can have some people at home, and the other ones can gather around like maybe a big screen or something, and you can have that kind of meeting. 5 minutes, that's it. So
Mhm.
I think that you can implement that tomorrow. Just say, well, guys, log in or be there at 9, and then or ask them, is 9 okay, or is 10 maybe a better time? Or maybe you can do it at the end of the day. There might be some people that only arrive at 10 o'clock. You have some people that get to choose their hours, but you have to have a buy-in from everyone. Everyone has to say, well, that works. And if you can get that kind of consensus, you also get the buy-in. So I'd say, as a manager, ask them what they would like. When do you want to meet? And then then you'll find it. You find a fixture. So and stick to that. If you stick to it, and unless people ask to change it, then it also provides for safety. So if you have this 5 to 10 minute chat every morning, or maybe every afternoon or every noon, doesn't really matter. Just connect with each other, talk with each other, and you can detect problems, and you learn to ask for help, for instance, as well. And that's what that meeting does.
Yeah.
And from that starting point, you can go on, implement new tools. Like you will notice what you're missing when you're doing this, right? It'll open up a lot of possibilities, a lot of problems that you didn't know were there to begin with. And then as you go, you develop together the tools you need to do all the rest. That's how it worked for us. It was a 2-year process. It was very interesting, but where we started 2 to 3 years ago, we're now at a totally different place, and you have to let that go. You have to give the team the dynamic to work this out for themselves. You can try and impose things. You can see problems coming from miles away. But if you just say, well, look out, there's going to be a problem, you can have this solution, there's not going to be a buy-in. And if you don't have a buy-in to a solution, they're not going to do it anyway. So let them come with solutions to problems that occur, to problems that get visible suddenly because of the meetings. I'd say that's a very good starting point for this kind of connection with your team.
Yeah. And what's your rule for hybrid work for the moment?
The rule is figure it out.
Okay.
It's actually like this, like with the semi lockdown that we had. They actually came up themselves with the way to do this. We have a chat program. It's called Slack, and they create a poll in which people can say, okay, I'm going to be there on that day. I'm going to be at the office on that day and that day, and practically all our meetings are hybrid at this point. And it works. It's nicer to have like the longer meetings together. That's something they acknowledge. It's something they feel. And when we're not obliged to work from home anymore, they've already said, well, if we have those meetings, we're going to come together at the office, for instance. That's all them. I'm not imposing anything. They choose to do this.
Yeah. We have on the conference, on the Happiness at Work conference in June, we have Shane Snow speaking about how to create a hybrid dream team. It looks like your team is close to that one.
Yeah, we are. Well, we have some growth opportunities. We're people. We all make mistakes, and mistakes happen still, but we detect them at least. And we tackle them as well. And that's the thing. You don't need it to be perfect right from the beginning, right off the bat. You want it to grow. You want it to evolve, because people don't really know for themselves what they want all the time. They have to discover it together with the process that you're setting up. So I think you have to, as a manager, it's good to be lenient to yourself. Let things go. Let them handle it, and they can handle it perfectly. That's something I've learned, and to my amazement, they did an awesome job. Really did. Very proud.
Yeah, very nice to hear. What happens? That's my last question. Then I let you go. What do you do with people who are like struggling? They have some mental issues. Who is solving that in your organization?
That's something we're working on right now. We see that the biggest problems are for the people that have been with the company before we started this whole transformation process. That's not always easy, but I think being lenient is one thing. Being personal is another. I think Simon Sinek really helped me sometimes with that, with this FBI method. The FBI method is feeling, behavior, impact. Is something you have to address to the person that you need to change his behavior. You say, well, if you do this, I feel like this, and it's going to have this consequence, and that also works a lot. So I think it's always working on an individual basis. Don't bash people in public. Just go and talk to them face to face. Tell them how you feel. Open up. You really need to be vulnerable as a manager. You need to show that vulnerability if you want it from your coworkers, and it takes a lot of courage, takes a lot of guts, takes a lot of time, takes a lot of sore throats from having long talks with people. It takes a lot of drinking beers after hours and having some one-on-one conversation as well. But if you really dig into it and you really connect with the other one, then in time it will be bound to go the way you need it to go. So I'd say when people are having trouble, connect on a personal level and do it face to face.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Brecht.
Thanks for having me.
I described you as a CEO with a clear vision. I'm impressed by the way you lead by example, how you create I think an organization with all the model needs. Agility, vulnerability, purpose, participation, respect.
Yeah.
All the Yeah,
You're set to soar. I love it. I'm really proud of what the team has done so far, and I'm really looking forward to the future and looking forward to how this will go. And we're gonna fly. I'm sure of that. I'm loving it. Loving every second. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you very
you
much.
very much for being in our show. Yeah, and we meet soon, and for sure at the conference in June. Thank you very much for your time,
Great.
and
Thank
keep
you.
doing the
Bye.
good work.
See you soon.
Bye bye.